Good evening, friends, and welcome to another late night edition of Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace. Guys and girls, you know the drill. We're retired New York City police detectives and 9/11 World Trade Center first responders. Heck, if you like all things true crime related from the police detective's perspective, you're in the right spot. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you get all things DutyRon and Ed Wallace when we go live or upload another video. Tonight, we're going to bring you, without further ado, the Stephan Sterns case. You know, he stands charged with the murder and sexual assault of little Madeline Soto, 13 years young, going back to her early single-digit years. This monster is now facing the death penalty. But tonight, we're going to talk about the Jailhouse emails that were exchanged between Stephan Sterns and his parents, whether the parents know more or they're trying to deflect the responsibility off of their son in some sick, evil, twisted way. Now, as a disclaimer, I know nothing about Stephan Stern's parents, but our special guest, I asked her to do some digging and some deep diving to see if she could come up with anything on both the mom, the dad, and anybody else as it relates to the family. Because remember, Jennifer Soto, Madeline's mom, has a huge family. As she said, we're all out there. They're all going all out to look for her. So what about her side of the family? Nobody knows. Nobody had any idea of what was going on to poor Madeline. But before we get into it, I want to say a special thank you to the Patreon supporters, the channel members, the folks who watch the replays, who send super chats, who buy us cups of coffee, and the replay viewers and the moderators, especially the moderators. Ed and I, we give thanks and praise to you, our live viewing audience, and our moderators. They're arguably the best on YouTube. So thank you to the moderators and everyone who's been here. Ed's on his way home from the Jersey Shore. He's stuck in traffic, but he should be joining us hopefully later on. But if he doesn't, we all got to give him that dismissal, because he's doing a lot of things, and I think he's flying out to his next assignment tomorrow or the next day. He's having difficulty with the flights. But listen, let's take a listen to some of the coverage. I know that this Jailhouse emails and text messages and all of the 64-page document came out about 9 days ago. But let's watch this coverage, because this is what we're going to be getting into tonight. And I want to get your feedback from the audience. So let us know in the chat, #DutyRon, and wait for our special guest to come on, and I'll give you her hashtag. You guys could use it in the comments. Let's take a listen.
On Stephan Sterns, the man accused of sexual battery on a child and for the murder of 13-year-old Madeline Soto.
Those documents include several back and forth conversations between Sterns and presumably his family. Well, she's Luana Munoz is live in studio tonight. And Luana, you've been pouring through these conversations. What exactly do they entail?
You know, Summer, Stephan Sterns goes back and forth again with his mother and who we believe might be his father, Chris Sterns. Stephan Sterns seems to believe that there's still some hope for his case, while his mother makes reference to others possibly being involved. One day after Stephan Sterns' trial was delayed, the state attorney's office released this 64-page document of email correspondence between Sterns and who appears to be his parents. The conversation starts off with Sterns complaining about life in isolation, saying, quote, "It's not exactly the Ritz, it's a small cell, and the pot is quite noisy."
Who found that to be really annoying? I personally found it so annoying that he talked about the dirty and disgusting conditions that he's in inside the jail. Hey, buddy, you are standing accused of sexual abuse, of rape of an 8-year-old going up until she's 13. You also are stand accused of murdering Madeline Soto. You don't deserve conditions that are like the Ritz, my friend. You deserve bugs crawling on you, and I hope you don't have one good moment, not a day, not one good second inside your custody and your lockup. Your emails from jail just show how hideous you are. So by a show of hands in the chat, how many of you guys were repulsed by this conversation and this message string between him and his mother and his father and whoever else he's communicating with? This guy is a scumbag, and he doesn't deserve one good second.
The mat is flat and has very Ritz. It's a small cell and the pot is quite noisy. The mat is flat and has very little cushion left. The cell is small, filthy, and has some spots on the wall that appear to be bloody fingerprints. He later complains of his coffee supply running low and continues to ask for a book. It's an odd conversation for the 38-year-old accused of six.
My coffee supply is low. How come his parents in those text messages, how come his mom and his dad didn't say to him, are you repenting to God? Are you sorry for what you did? I know it's a jail call. It's a jail email, I mean. And listen, these people aren't completely stupid. They get that people are going to be listening to it. And part of the reason why the mom is throwing blame onto Jennifer Soto is because she wants to take, she's seizing an opportunity. She wants to take some of the heat off of her son. And this is a sick, evil, twisted way of a parent trying to take responsibility away from their son, their grown son. I mean, Stephan Sterns is a grown man. This is the mom taking the blame away. We all know that Jennifer Soto sanctioned this man, this monster. She sanctioned this evil monster right here to sleep with her own daughter, her own flesh and blood. Jennifer Soto said the night her daughter was murdered, she said, you know, Stephan, take Maddie into the private bedroom where dad sleeps, into dad's old bedroom. And I'm going to sleep alone here. You go and sleep with my daughter. She's 13 years old. She just turned 13. Take her and go to the private room. And guess what? Some short hours later, she was dead. She was dead. And we don't know if he raped her before he killed her. And I would bet my pension on it. And I hate to say this, but this is a fucking scumbag right here. This guy, I would bet my pension that this guy raped her before he killed her. And that's the sad part, is that he is now complaining and bitching and whining. This sheriff right here, this is the guy who we watched transport him back from Orange County to the Osceola County Sheriff's Office. And what did he do that whole time? This scumbag, all he did was complain about how it was cold and his core body temperature was low. You know what? Turn the air conditioner on. Let this guy freeze. Let him freeze to death, as far as I'm concerned. This guy deserves the bare minimum. The bare minimum, my friends.
It's an odd conversation for the 38-year-old accused of 60 counts of sexual battery of a child and for the murder of 13-year-old Madeline Soto. Detectives say Sterns is seen on surveillance video driving around with Soto's dead body in his car before allegedly dumping her in a rural field in February. In an email dated June 25th, Sterns tells his family, quote, "There's still perhaps a slim hope for my situation." He goes on to say, "I maintain hope that I might be able to come home once this whole nasty business has reached its end."
You mean your nasty business that you recorded with your private parts going inside a young child's mouth and vagina? Is that what you're referring to as it pertains to nasty business? Listen, I want to put myself back on because my blood is starting to boil right now. Because when you see stuff like this, and you see this monster start talking the way he's talking here, he doesn't give a rat's ass about what he did to poor Maddie. He doesn't care. And in these jailhouse emails, you'll hear his mother say that Madeline Soto, she had such a horrible upbringing, going from place to place in different relationships that Jennifer went through before he came onto the scene. How dare you, lady? How dare you say something like that? That is repulsive. That makes me mad as hell. And I'm telling you, man, when it comes to victims and their families, especially when it comes to a young child like this, I have no patience for this. I have no patience for it. It just makes my blood boil. Let me know what you think in the comments section.
And ask that you both remain hopeful as well and continue to pray for me to be delivered home again. A redacted email is then sent back to Sterns, signed Mom, that alludes to some accusations. She says, "We all know Redacted was heavily involved in this, and I'm disgusted that she's free and you're not, when this is not all your fault. You need to think about yourself more and her less. She sure isn't thinking about you and how she can help you right now. That whole family is willing to stay quiet and let you take the fall for everything.
Hey, Mom, what about the lewd and lascivious charges your son's charged with the videos and pictures that he took, the hundreds, perhaps even thousands of videos and photographs that he took depicting him having sex with a minor? How about that? Forget about your statement back here about, I'm disgusted that she is free. This is her jumping on the bandwagon. Yeah, we know Jennifer Soto should be locked up. She should be hogtied and dragged in, as far as I'm concerned. But the bottom line is they're working a case. They're working a case against Jennifer Soto, and it takes time. Even if it takes 6 months, I don't give a shit if it takes a year, as long as she gets charged, and she gets charged the right way. Not some small little misdemeanor, child neglect or failure to parental supervision. I don't want some bullshit charges levied against her. I want charges where she will be locked up and in jail, awaiting a trial, just like this monster is. But to have the audacity to send an email that everyone's going to read, just to jump on the Jennifer Soto bandwagon and try to get your son sprung free? Are you sick, lady? You need to have your head examined. It just is sickening.
Fault. You need to think about yourself more and her less. She sure isn't thinking about you and how she can help you right now. That whole family is willing to stay quiet and let you take the fall for everything. She goes on to say, quote, I think of the craziness Redacted lived through with Redacted's various partners.
Yeah, see, this is what makes it just equally as evil as what her son did, is that the mom and the father, they probably both read this email before they pressed send. This is coming from the father's email account, but we know that this is the mom talking. But this is what makes it look, let's think about the Chris Watts case, right? For those of you who are here in the chat, if you know about Chris Watts, he murdered he's a family annihilator. He killed his wife, Shanann, their unborn son, Nico, Bella, and Cece, and dumped those two little girls into an oil tank and buried his pregnant wife in a shallow grave outside of Endargo oil fields in Colorado. His parents, Ronnie, I don't even know what his fucking mother's name is, but Ronnie, his father, sat there and said, yes, son, I believe you. Shanann was killing one of the girls and you had to step in. It's okay, son. We're going to get through this. Give me a fucking break. This is so much. It gives me flashbacks back to the Chris Watts case. Let's let the rest of this play, and then I have my special guest, Cyber Sleuth. I'm not going to give it up. I'm going to make it a surprise. Most of you know who it is anyways.
Not a stable life for a child at all. I do pray for Redacted and you daily.
Well, Sterns' trial was expected to start next week, but just yesterday, his attorney asked that be pushed back. His new trial date is now scheduled for October 14th.
So October 14th is the next court date leading up to, I don't think the trial is going to kick off on October 14th. Oblivious Benson, Cyber Sleuth extraordinaire, friend of Crime Time with DutyRon. You guys are part of her cult over there, right? Better known as Dad, coming on in to give us her 411. She goes live almost on a nightly basis, or whenever she can go live, and she gives you lots of time to get and absorb the abundance of information that she comes up with. Sometimes when I watch her replays, because she's live when I'm sleeping, when I watch her replays, I got to do it in small pieces and 15 minutes here, a half hour there. But I got to take a pen and paper. I got to get a pad when I watch her videos. So Oblivious Benson, better known as Dad, I call her Kat. Thank you for joining. How's it going?
Thank you.
Yeah. What about this bullshit? This Stephan Sterns
bullshit.
Yeah.
It's making me so mad.
I know. I listen, my blood boils when these things come out, and I've had these 64 pages since the first day it came out. My son was here, and there's a lot of things going on, and I know a lot of people were covering it, but what gets my blood boiling is that the mom and dad are just pampering this guy. They're coddling him, like, hey, he wants to have his commissary account upload. Give me, send me $30, send me the books, send me the like. You kidding me? There's not one mention in any of those emails as like, hey son, you need to go to you need to go to church. You need to pray. You need to pray for forgiveness.
If he walked into the church, it would light on fire at this point. This guy's such a piece of shit. What do you call him? I'm trying not to cuss as much because it's on my channel. Jagaloons. Jagaloon Lane, dude. That's where they live on. Not actually. The OSINT doesn't say that, but metaphorically, they're Jagaloons and they live on Jagaloon Lane, and I cannot stand them. And also, I would highly recommend, I know people love to be, as I call them, Snoopy Doopas out there. It hurts my brain the more I look into this family. And I'm going to talk a little chit, and it's all on me. It's not on Ron. This is my cheese made today. These are my opinions, but my opinion, they have the worst personalities. Everything I have seen of them, everything I've found of them is it never makes sense why someone becomes this much of a monster in life.
Right.
But I can imagine that living in the house he grew up in couldn't have been easy and good, because this dude did not deserve an easy life. He was a terrible child. Everything that I found, and like, these aren't rumors. These are like people who grew up with him. He did disgusting things to his friends. I found a juvenile record that I have no idea what it's for. He's a total jagaloon. Right. When they moved from, they were in Cali, they've been in Georgia, and they've been in Florida. In the late 90s, Stephan has, and I will call him Stephen sometimes because I cannot bother to respect him enough to learn his name. He literally has a juvenile record for something that carried over for years. He did something bad. It carried over until he was an adult in Florida. And was essentially off probation.
I know you're on a roll. I want to stop you just for a second, because people that are just jumping in here that might not know. So I asked Oblivious Benson, my good friend, my sister from another mister, right? She's I asked her quickly today in a text message, hey, could you try to look up some dirt on Stephan Stern's parents? Because I was just curious of what kind of people they are. Like, maybe like what their jobs were, what they did. And I had no information on this. So I had asked her to just do some quick searching. And she is, again, a cyber sleuth like there's no tomorrow. If I was an internet detective, I would want her as a partner. Like, I'm not saying that to just blow smoke up your ass. I'm saying it because this is the kind of tenacity and this is the kind of vim and vigor that you need to do these cases. You need to have that fight, and you have that fight. So she's a cyber sleuth extraordinaire, and I'm going to let her continue on with her thoughts. I'm sorry that
I will. You can interrupt me to give me compliments anytime, and that goes for anybody in the chat. And also, the thing that kept me going on this was Ron's text being like, "Can you believe this shit?" And I'm like, "What happened now?" And oh my God, the rage. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys some stuff. Some of it, I think it's best to just tell you. You can go see it yourself after the chat is over, because it does have some personal information. We're not here to dox anyone, but I will tell you, the family has a LinkedIn
information, though, right? This is public.
Yeah, it's public. If it's public, I can share it. I'm just thinking, we could just share this. We'll share the page.
Anybody could see it. There's no doxing when it's publicly available.
True. And when they're dickheads, it's not doxing. I think we'll see. I think they're dickheads, so I don't feel bad about it.
So before she starts sharing this stuff, I want to tell you that we're going to go into the thoughts and the thought process from a detective's perspective as it pertains to the 2022 Nissan Sentra. Why that potentially that car followed the exact same route back to the crime scene where Jennifer Soto's daughter, Madeline, was discovered. And where I am going to give you my thoughts on whether it was Stephan Stern solo, Stephan and Jennifer together, or Jennifer solo. And I don't hear a lot of people talking about that potentiality that Jennifer could have went back there on her own if Stephan told her exactly what happened, to go back there and say goodbye to her daughter, which sounds sick, right? It sounds sick and twisted, but trust me, in the cases that I've covered, nothing seems crazy to me. Nothing seems impossible to me. And those are some of the potential things. But what I believe, we're going to get into that after Oblivious Benson shows us this presentation on publicly available information on Stephan Stern's parents. Do you know their ages by any chance?
I have it written down somewhere. I wish I could. All of my notes are very scattered on this case when it comes to his parents, but I'm pretty sure we can actually see it as we go through this.
You want me to add this to the stage, or you just tell me?
Yeah.
When you're...
Go ahead and add it. Let's show people. So this is his dad. This is Chris. Chris,
I'm gonna go full screen with it.
Yeah, you'll notice that Chris actually, let me X out of there. Chris actually has a history of real estate development. As you can see, I highlighted right here, a $200 million plus career in residential real estate. DutyRon knows this. I used to work in real estate, mainly building databases, but interestingly enough, Florida is one of the only places other than Texas where you can do the absolute bare minimum in real estate and get by. And by that, I mean apartment locating, which is what Stephan seemed to do. In fact, if you
like father, like son. Right?
Yes. And if you do a search on Stephan's background and his old LinkedIn and the information he shares on his Facebook, you'll notice that the only real estate companies he ever worked with happen to be linked directly to his father, which to me screams nepotism, screams my son's a loser. I have to get him a job, which not everybody is a loser who gets a job with their parents. But when you're his age,
I like that you put that out there. I like that little disclaimer right there.
Yeah, it's true. But when you're his age and you've had ample opportunity, and when you come from a place of wealth, which he clearly does, and you'll see why I say that in a minute, not just his dad bragging on freaking LinkedIn, but when you come from that and you are set up for success and you've spent time in juvie, you have mooched off of your girlfriends your whole life, which isn't just something I'm saying. This is publicly available. You can hear it from his friends. You can see it on his Facebook. To take the bare minimum job in real estate, working as a secretary at a home builder company, and then eventually only having one property listed, that is enough to get you maybe a month's rent. And you're spending all your time playing with little figures and using your girlfriend and your parents to buy you this shit when you're in your 30s. That's pathetic to me. That's like, he's not trying. He doesn't care. And I can imagine it was stressful being his parents. But then whenever you kind of look into their history, and a lot of other creators have touched on this, and they've had, whether it's a rumor or not, they've had his friends call in and give their perspective. The follow-up I've done on them seems very legit. In fact, you can specifically see who they are publicly, and you can vouch. They vouch for themselves. They're in pictures. They know. They have
This is why I like you, because you go that one step further to actually look and vet some of the people that are making these claims. Now, I just want to say this for the listening audience, and thank you for gifting memberships. Melly, moderator, friend, part of the Crime Time with DutyRon family.
And go like and subscribe to DutyRon.
Yes. And also I have your stuff, her YouTube channel, Oblivious Benson, linked in the description. For those of you who are lazy like me, I made it clickable. So all you have to do is hover on it, click it, and then you could subscribe. Let's get her to 10,000 subscribers really quick.
I don't know if I can handle that.
I want to just quickly just say this too. When you look at Stephan Sterns getting information publicly from his roommates, from people who he grew up with, it gives you a good idea of what this person was about and how he grew up and how he was as a young adult, how he was as a teenager. We don't know how far back I don't listen to this stuff. So, I mean, not because I want to listen to it.
His Facebook alone has proof that he was trying. I'm not even going to say banging or dating, because what he was doing was illegal. He was with a 14-year-old openly when he was in high school on his social media, and he continued to contact her when she was getting married as an adult. He's like, congratulations.
Wow.
And she's clearly not friends with him, but he's following her. Now, all of this, I think clearly his parents or someone went in and altered, because within a few days of him of this blowing up on the news in general, and then him getting arrested, we started to see some of his profile actually get limited, but you'd have to go really far back to see that. And it happened to be the day after a creator who I'm not going to name because I can't stand the dude. But honestly, like, he had a roommate on. That roommate straight up gave information about him dating a high school girl. And then that information was removed, except for the public posts that they can't remove, which would only be available in his activity from 10 years ago. Now, if you wanted to go in, anybody could do this on their own Facebook, or if you have a legacy account attached with a person allowed to go in, which I think he did, which I think could be his mom, just my opinion. You can go in and you can request user data as far back as the beginning of your account. But Facebook, like anything else, typically that has to store information on a server, does data dumps almost every 7 years. So while it's available to you, and you'd have to go real far back to find it and sift through years of internet, or you could request it in order to find it. Like I said, like you can't remove it from jail. Your legacy contact would have to know it's there. And to go into your activity and do it would be really difficult. So anything he posted publicly to other people or linking to other people that he did not post on his own wall is still accessible. And the fact that he contacts these, I'll say ex-girlfriends because there's plural, but one in particular that was way too young up until her wedding day a decade later. It's like, dude, what the hell is wrong with this guy? And then you find out over and over again, there's these situations where the roommates, who I personally was able to confirm, one of them I even reached out to, who confirmed, yeah, that was me. I'm not going to give his name, but I'll say this much. Everything that he said lines up with the existence of the juvenile records after Stephan left Cali. Wow. There is specific information that this guy gives in regards to Stephan attending a wedding that you can find that data on. Him going to Colorado. You can even see while he's there, he's clicking likes at vape shops, toy stores, and you can tell if you heard that interview, he's discussing how Stephan hit on his wife afterwards. Like,
let me just add, let me add a little to this too as well. As it pertains to people like this is not something that just develops. It just all of a sudden he starts to become a predator. This can start from young adulthood, like 12, 13, 14 years old. And it could even start younger. But
he allegedly threw semen on his friends. His friends.
At what age? In his teens, probably?
He was in his teens.
Yeah. Little bit says, wow, he's been at this for a long time. And a reason I highlighted that comment is because investigators, not necessarily in California, in Florida, but in California and in the states that he traveled through and lived in, Colorado, investigators will look after this trial is over, or even while he's in custody right now, they'll start to look at possible cases that are open where it pertains to sexual predators, where someone's been sexually assaulted, or if it hasn't been reported, they'll look at stuff and go back and try to contact potential victims. And this is why when you look at stuff like this publicly available, think about what's available when you, as a law enforcement professional, you go and subpoena stuff. So there's going to be stuff that, look, we know that this guy's a sneaky fucker, right? We know that Stephan Sterns did that factory reset oops thing. It was unintentional. He intentionally was trying to get rid of evidence because he knew that the heat was on from the night that they made that report inside Jennifer's mother's place of business, right? Tax firm or whatever the hell they do there. And you saw the whole family there. He was shitting himself then. And then he shit himself the next day when that female detective told him, we're going to be holding on to your phone. So in between that night, when that report happened on the night, 8 o'clock or close to 8, Going to the next day, he started trying to cover his trail. And he even went back, we know now, possibly he or her alone went back to the actual murder scene. Did he go back there to try to move her? Did he go back there to do something even more hideous? And I don't
he
want
went back again, right? Didn't he? They caught him on traffic cam going back again, possibly in her car.
the next day in the Nissan. And that's what I'm alluding to, the 2022 Nissan Sentra. I believe at 3 a.m. when he went back there that possibly Jennifer was sleeping and he went back there to say, hey, maybe I want to move her, because, murderers do this, right? If they murder and dump somebody somewhere, they start to get paranoid and they're like, oh shit, the cops are onto me. Maybe I should move her. Maybe she's not in a good, and maybe that's what he did.
Yeah, and also to see if there's buzzards. I think that that's a big concern, especially with, it's not just serial killers. I know people are talking about that in the chat. It's anybody who kills someone, and even farmers, like where I grew up. If you have to put down a horse, you're constantly going back to make sure the buzzards aren't overwhelming or something, or wait until they're finished. So you could take the parts out so that a dog or an animal or another horse, something doesn't go try to choke on the bone. But when you're thinking about a human, I'd imagine it probably clicked to him all the problems that happened, and he had to go back and check. Did anybody do people pull over there to go hunt? Is the landowner going to go back and check? Does he see any vehicles? Are there cops there? Is there a helicopter? Are there drones? Are there crows, or what are they? Not crows. What are they called? Buzzards.
Buzzards. Yeah. And remember, he admitted to being on Ativan and different types of different types of medications and so forth. I'm sure that this guy is a very paranoid person to just begin with.
And Adderall, I believe.
Yeah, He's also Ativan. I have Ativan written out here.
But that keeps you up. Imagine he's tweaking his ass off, doesn't get any sleep. Then he takes a sleeping pill. He's probably going to slip into some sort of psychosis at some point if he wakes up, some Vanilla Sky shit. He's definitely going to not get a good night's rest. And his head's going to be scattered. Now, Jen's a whole different story, because that chick was we heard from her friends how they would not only have to take her to get her medication, but and that was on Guilty of Crimes channel, not only did they her roommate have to take her to get medication, she had to take her to the free clinic. So Jen, who also had money, was mooching off the government because she was too lazy to go to work and get her insurance reinstated, which I never say lazy about people getting insurance because it's so hard in America. But when you work for Disney, I've looked at the history, the job history, and how much it takes to get that insurance. I mean, Starbucks gives you insurance on the first day. Like, this is something she could have done, and she chose not to. And she spent a lot of time blaming her mental health. And normally I would be very empathetic to that. But when you see her partying at weddings, getting drunk, going on trips with Stephan,
posing for pictures, smiling, the fake smile, the
buying him his toys.
Yeah, I you see right through that bullshit.
Keeping the rent from the roommate when it's the dad. The dad paid for that place. Like, she didn't have rent.
We got to talk about how she sublet that location and had room numbers on the rooms. Let's take a break for a minute and listen to some coverage about the cars, because I think this is important. I started talking about it. We are going all over the place. Melly, thank you for the super chat. Todd, thank you for becoming a member. Jeff, love you. 15 months. I bet Stephan Sterns abused younger children when he was a teenager. Abso-freaking-lutely. There's no question.
Oh, and Melly, when we're done with that, can we go back to his LinkedIn?
We'll go back to yours. Okay, yes, cool. We'll go back to it. Jennifer, thank you for being a member for 11 months. Jennifer, thank you for gifting memberships. That's very kind. Thank you, Daisy. Daisy. Thank you, Daisy. You're the best. Appreciate it. Another one of your children coming in. Sorcia. Am I saying that right? Sorcia or Sorcia or Sorchi. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Very appreciated. All right, here we go. This is about the car. Let's take a listen.
New information on a story that has really grabbed our community's attention and made national headlines.
And folks, that's the crime scene right there. I want to go back. this is the crime scene. It's alleged he went in through these open gates off of this is the road that led to the location. We're going to talk about this location. He took it a direct route from Venetian Bay Villages.
Oh, that's why he's paranoid. Look up there. Do you see what's in the top center?
Yeah.
A little higher?
Yeah, I
A
do.
little higher than that? That's a fucking, there's people doing work on that land. What a dumb decision.
It's a farm. He just did this, like, oh, I'll look at these bushes. Look at these bushes. And she was, I believe he went in where my cursor is off the road, right? Came in like this, and then her remains were recovered right around here, behind these behind these high. And I'm not, I'm calling them bushes. People are going to correct me, but
what are they called? Is that shrubbery?
Thick shrubbery. And he also took tumbleweed or bales of hay that were behind here. You could see them here in the foreground, and he strewn the hay over her. And I anticipate that we're going to hear at the trial that he put that cover over Madeline's body that next day when he took this Nissan Sentra out there. He probably,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he probably got paranoid about it and said, you know what, I better cover her better. She was out since Monday, late in the day, Monday, all the way till late in the day, Friday. It was 89 degrees when her remains were recovered. So very, very difficult. We're going to hear from our good friend Joseph Scott Morgan in a little bit about her remains in the recovery. We don't have a lot of details on it, but we definitely know that the medical examiner's office did a sex kit on poor Madeline to determine whether she was sexually assaulted the day of her murder, and they'll be able to ascertain that through that sex kit. Really horrific, really just, this is the crime scene. I just wanted to stop it here because a lot, some people might have forgotten where it was. This gate was closed on Friday at 5 o'clock when they were led to this location by, coincidentally, a civilian. The press conference was going on at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and a civilian, female and a male, called in and said, "Hey, I saw this guy changing a flat along this road." And it led investigators with drones, helicopters, foot assets on the ground to her remains.
And they posted it on Facebook, the couple.
Yeah, they posted it on Facebook, but before they did that, they made the call. And that's what's important that people understand, Kat, is that they made the call first and then posted on Facebook.
Yeah.
And those two are heroes. Because
that's the proper order, by the way, right, DutyRon? Go to the cops first before you share it on your channel, your Facebook, whatever. Make sure you get it in, and also make sure you get permission from them. They got permission. I believe they even stated that because so many people were doxing them and trying to accuse them.
I watched the chain of events, and I went back and I did my due diligence, and they did it the right way. They first and foremost, they saw the press conference. They're concerned citizens of that county, and they said, "Hey, I saw this guy changing a flat," and the phone call was made, and that's what solved this case. So, law enforcement, we need the public's help, and the public and crowdsourcing sometimes can be your best friend and your worst enemy. And in this case, it was our best friend, and it was the best friend for justice. So it is what it is. But this is it. So let's take a listen to the rest of it. Beamer, thank you for putting that in there. Channel member for 5 months and a moderator. Justice for Madeline. Amen to that. Amen to that. Jeep Girl is also here, a great friend of the channel, and thank you for being a channel member and a moderator for a long, long time. She's saying hello to Wendy and the crew. All right, let's listen to this because we got a lot to unpack here.
It's a new discovery in 13-year-old Madeline Soto's murder case. This is News 6 at 6. I'm Matt Austin.
And I'm Ginger Gadsden. Hours after the teen was reported missing, 2 different cars drove to the area of St. Cloud, where deputies later found Soto's body. News 6 investigator Mike DeForest has the details on this bizarre story.
So my daughter was dropped off close to school this morning, but never made it.
Just hours after Jennifer Soto reported the disappearance of her 13-year-old daughter, Madeline, Kissimmee police began investigating 2 different cars.
According to this newly released report, those 2 vehicles were suspected to be involved in the case.
One of the cars was this silver Lincoln MKZ that belonged to the mother's boyfriend, Stephan Sterns, who's now charged with Soto's murder. The other was a white 2022 Nissan Sentra. As you can see, the owner's name is blacked out in police reports.
So we do not yet know.
You saw the apostrophe S there. It's Jennifer Soto's car.
Yep.
What about the 2012 Honda Civic? We haven't heard anything about that third vehicle. I haven't forgotten it because it's in my case notes. In the affidavit, there was a 2012 Honda Civic, 2010 Lincoln MKZ, and a 2022 Nissan Sentra. So pen registration and all types of different investigative steps were done on all of these vehicles. We may hear more about the 2012 Honda Civic. Who owned that? Was it her mom? Was it somebody else that is?
Oh, I think it's her mom. I think it's the mom because there's a ticket with the Honda Civic listed.
So then there you go. It's mom's. So we're going to hear more about that because it's part of the case. It's part of the case. They did, it's listed out in the affidavit. So let's listen to the rest of this. It's just a couple of minutes, and I want you guys to hear about this route that he took. The route that was taken by whoever drove this car. And I'm saying he because I believe firmly it was him. I do not think that it was her, but you never know.
I agree
with them. There's those 3 possibilities, and we can't rule them out until we know definitively that she wasn't there and that she had no knowledge of this. So until we hear more, all 3 of those possibilities in my book are on the table. The most probable one is that scumbag going back there and moving her, and God only knows what. I didn't want to get into it, but you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
But yeah, this fucking guy, I don't put anything past him.
Who typically drove that Nissan.
On February, the owner's name is blacked out in police reports.
So we do not yet know who typically drove that Nissan.
On February 26th at 8:31 in the morning, the day Soto disappeared, surveillance cameras reportedly captured video of Sterns' Lincoln leaving the apartment complex where the teen lived with her mom. According to police, Soto's body could be seen slumped over in the passenger seat. About an hour later, cameras at a nearby office building allegedly captured video of Sterns' car entering a parking garage and someone moving a female body from the front seat to the trunk. At 10:14 a.m., Sterns' Lincoln is photographed returning to the apartment complex, police say. A few hours later, it leaves again.
So where did Sterns' car go? Well, according to this newly released report, detectives were able to retrace its movements using automated license plate readers, traffic cameras, and other surveillance video.
And those automated license plate readers are on poles along certain routes. Police vehicles have them in their cars, and they are continually reading plates randomly. So in this news report, they're not adding in all the different places where these license plate readers are. If you look at the back of police cars and they have those cameras, it looks like are facing all different directions on the trunk or sometimes up on the roof. Those readers are continually running, and a police vehicle could have tracked or could have had him run past them, or more than likely a pole-mounted camera could have picked him up. Amanda Long, I'm going to address this in a minute, and I love that you brought it up. Thank you for bringing it up, and I respect your position on this. I'll address it right now. So she says, DutyRon, request to please not demonize taking prescription medication. Got it.
Oh, I'm not demonizing it. I used to take that stuff.
I just want to just say something about this.
Yeah.
We did not, and you did not say that everybody who takes these drugs and the tweaking and all this stuff, but we know in this case that this monstrous murderer, he admitted by his own admissions, not by our speculation, he admitted to the police that he was taking this stuff.
He abused it.
Was convicted of raping and murdering an 8-year-old up until she's 13 years old. So guess what? this is part of the story, and this is part of why we're going to talk about it. But absolutely, Amanda, 100%. I respect that comment. I respect your position. But that, unfortunately, is what Stephan Sterns admitted on his own admissions.
And I want to pop in and say, I want to thank Amanda because I agree 100%. I just want to clarify. I'm speaking on behalf of someone. Look, I've taken prescription medication. I'm completely crazy. I have mental health issues. We all do. It's America. The problem is there are people out there who will abuse prescription medications. They will purposefully take the wrong ones. They will buy them from people off of the street. They are part of the reason, in my opinion, we have a fentanyl problem right now, because they are literally tapping out drugs that people who are actually mentally ill and really desperately need to live and survive daily, they are tapping out of that. So these people who cannot get their medicine end up having to get it elsewhere, or a version of it that can really cause serious addiction problems. Stephan has a history of drug abuse. He himself has admitted this. His roommates and friends have gone on the record and said that she and him were constantly pilled up out of their fucking minds. Mental health issues, like I said, she was always blaming.
And they admitted this themselves. This is not us speculating on it. This is them admitting to this.
Yeah, and she literally was told by a doctor, you don't need this anymore, or you need to take something else. So she went doctor shopping, and that is a problem. And this is, I'll say, alleged, because legally,
just to get what you want to hear from the what you want from the doctor, right?
So yeah, exactly. It's doctor shopping. And the problem with that is that actually affects you and me and anybody else who really does need mental health medication. Anybody who is an advocate for mental health resources, and getting rid of the stigma needs to also not let's not be so delicate when pointing out that people abuse this system, and that affects you and me. So those of us who do take medication that we absolutely need, I used to have to take a medication for seizures. That medication, when people started abusing it, it makes it harder for me to get. I have a friend with lupus who can't get her medication because people are abusing it. So we need to call these people out, especially when they openly admit to it. Now, yes, I understand a lot of the reasons they do this is because they have become addicted themselves, and that's their own problem. But the second you murder or rape a child, I no longer give a shit how you feel about what I say.
All bets are off at that point.
It's not about you. It's about her.
I want to put myself full screen because I want to piggyback on what you just said there about people who really need the drugs and have a hard time getting it because people who abuse the system. So I, as you guys know, had full rotator cuff surgery in March on the 26th. My doctor gave me, I think, 30 pills of oxycodone, and I don't take oxycodone unless I've had surgery, right? I take it for a week or two or whatever. But this shoulder thing was so bad that I actually needed more than the 30. Do you know I couldn't get them? My state wouldn't allow them to fill that prescription in a certain period of time because it rings the red flags. And so I had to take just, regular ibuprofen, Motrin. And Popeye knows it. He just said the F word and whistled. You guys,
what was that?
He whistled. He says his little things, and then he whistles at the end. So it's the bird, my bird.
Ooh, oh, your bird. Oh my God.
Gray right here. But anyways, so he said
I was going crazy.
F word and whistled. But I have the mic on limited, so it cuts off. It's like a noise cut. So it cuts it. Otherwise, he'd take the show over. But so that's my point. I wasn't able to get the pain medicine. I had to wait. And in the process of waiting, I was in pain where I really did need it. Obviously I'm not taking it anymore. I took what I needed. But I had to wait a period of time, and that sucked, and it was because of people abusing it. So anyways, let me just finish this. I want you guys to hear the rest of this because I think it's important. It's about what we're talking about, and it pertains to the cars.
Go? Well, according to this newly released report, detectives were able to retrace its movements using automated license plate readers, traffic cameras, and other surveillance video.
After Sterns' Lincoln left the apartment complex at 12:44 p.m., detectives say they have video evidence showing it traveled east on US 192 towards St. Cloud and then turned south on Old Hickory Tree Drive. That just happens to be the area where authorities would later find Soto's decomposing body. Nearly an hour later, police say the car was photographed along US 192, headed back to the apartment complex.
Again, that was the silver Lincoln belonging to Sterns. But what about the second car, that white Nissan Sentra?
According to investigators, the following morning at 3:16 a.m., the Nissan is photographed leaving the apartment complex and heading east towards St. Cloud along nearly the exact same route as Sterns' car took the previous day. Detectives say the white Nissan also turned down Old Hickory Tree Drive, where Soto's body was eventually found.
So this is why I think it was him. I believe it is him because the car took the exact same route. Unless Jennifer Soto was with him that day, which we know she wasn't, this vehicle took the exact same route that he took the previous day in the Lincoln MKZ. So when you look at it from an investigator standpoint, it makes more sense that either A, he was driving that car, and yes, Jennifer could have been with him, but they have him on video. They have him on video coming back into the Venetian Bay complex. So if she was with him, just as they saw Madeline's lifeless body in the front seat, the video would have came up. So I say it almost high probability is that Stephan Sterns was all wired and nervous and paranoid that next day on the 27th. Yeah, Tuesday, the 27th of February. He took the white Nissan at 3:16 a.m. and went out the front gate of the Venetian Bay Villages complex. And he went back to that crime scene and moved or covered Madeline Soto to try to evade detection. And that's what I firmly believe that he did here. And you hear it from this reporter. You hear the reporter say, hey, this is what the car did. And this is the route he took.
Is photographed leaving the apartment complex and heading east towards St. Cloud along nearly the exact same route as Sterns' car took the previous day. Detectives say the white Nissan also turned down Old Hickory Tree Drive, where Soto's body was eventually found. About 35 minutes later, investigators say the white Nissan got back on US 192 and returned to the apartment complex.
So the big question, who was driving that white Nissan? Well, at this point, that still remains a mystery. These records do not indicate whether detectives think it was Sterns, maybe returning to the crime scene in a different vehicle, or perhaps someone else. We will be learning a lot more in the days and weeks.
And I do firmly believe that they know exactly who is in that vehicle. As I stated previously, that the cameras at Venetian Bay at the entrance and exit, the back exit he took with the MKZ, the front he took with this car both times, in and out. Those cameras are good enough to where it's close and it's going to get who is inside that car, who's the operator, who's sitting in the passenger seat, who's in the back seat, and they have it. Of course, it's not released because this has to go to trial, but gonna have to tell you right now, the evidence against Stephan Sterns is overwhelming. It's overwhelming. And barring some kind of complete incompetence by the investigators, and I don't see it here. I don't see Karen Reed type investigation with Trooper Proctor here in Florida. These men and women had their shit together as it pertains to this investigation. The documents that I read, 896 pages, 64 pages, everything that I read is tightened up. The only snafu that we have here, I'll add you back, Oblivious, you're back on. She had to go and feed the dog. So the documents and pages, the only mess up that I see here, pertains to I believe it was the Orange County Sheriff, or it was the Orange.
That was who had video of the crime scene, right?
Yeah. And he put it out on Instagram. He put it out on Instagram, and he said he didn't know it. That's the only thing, but that screw up is not going to get the case thrown out. But that's the only thing that I know of as of right now that was screwed up, and that his press secretary or his secretary or his administrative assistant was taking a selfie. Remember when Stephan Sterns was coming out of the Orange County jail?
Oh, and she left that thing about praying for people. Oh, Jesus.
Right. So two things, all coming back to that same sheriff. He apologized publicly. He was embarrassed by it, and he should have been, because you need to know what you're posting. You know, you
But he
need to
took
know.
ownership of it
Yeah, he
right
definitely
away.
took ownership of it. It was some posting that was supposed to be for a senior something center or some type of something for the seniors, but he screwed up, and it was definitely cringe. It was definitely it was pictures of Madeline Soto at the crime scene, a picture, I believe, one picture.
It was blurry, and the big concern was really that it was possibly from his personal iPhone, but what they failed to realize is that, and I did look up department policy, and I actually spoke to an officer in Florida that I've worked with on other cases.
They use their personal phone.
He said that he said, especially if you're a sheriff, you're going to use your iPhone
Whenever you
to
need
do
it.
everything from pictures of IDs to getting the GPS coordinates to a place to get other officers there quicker.
And Kat, we heard one of the lead detectives from Kissimmee say, we took Stephan Stern's phone and we recorded from his phone onto our phone, so we had the superimposed images and the videos in case they were ever lost. So and they spelled it out in the paperwork. So, I mean, I sat up one night and fell asleep at the computer reading the 896 pages. But in those 896, they dotted their I's, they crossed their T's. Let's go to the chat, because it's unfair that everyone's here for almost an hour and we didn't say hello to everyone. So ATS News, thank you for being here, Amber. Hopefully we're getting close to the baby coming. She has her own channel, ATS News. Go over and subscribe to her. Thank you for being a moderator, channel member. Everything. Adam, thank you for being here. He really doesn't want to know. I really want to know what the roommates had to say. That's not what this live stream's about, but thank you, Adam. The roommates had a ton to say. And
yeah, I'll send you links later, Adam. That's my top son. I rank my children.
Okay,
he's number one.
Hey, Adam, good to have you here. Thank you. We try to stay on topic here, so I want to keep to what we're talking about. So let's go back to Stephan Stern's parents. All right. We already covered that this case is tight. It's got a lot of overwhelming graphic evidence of his private parts matching up to photos and videos. Disgusting, right? He
extracted his phone super early, and that Telegram stuff.
Right.
I mean, what a better what there is no better investigation. What do you call it? A drop of luck that he gave them that permission.
Right.
Because, and I'm sure Ed could attest to this, or at least give some clarification. The second he gave them permission, like, here, take it. It didn't matter what he deleted off Telegram, because the second, all they have to do is re-upload the app. His data is all there, and it's public to Secret Service. It's easy to extract, and I don't believe you even need a warrant if it's CSAM or terrorism.
You don't. And that's good that you did your homework on that.
Yeah, they can get everything from him.
Ali from New Zealand says, crime scene or dump site? It's both. It's the dump site where he dumped her body. And listen, this is police jargon. This is how we make reference to it, and it's referenced in notes and in the police case file. Dump site is where he dumped her remains, and the crime scene app is there, and also if she was killed at a different location, which we know she was. But they're both crime scenes, right?
Because he's dumping a body, that's a crime.
Yeah, so it makes that a crime scene. And a lot of these murders in situations like this, and thank you, Ali, from New Zealand, for that question. Because, look, he also stopped at that Holiday Inn vacations spot to take Madeline's body from his vehicle in the interior of the vehicle and then put her in the trunk. Remember that? So when he did that exchange there, that now becomes a crime scene as well, because he took her remains from the car and put it in the trunk. That is also part of what you're going to see presented in the court of law, because he took her and he concealed her body inside the trunk.
It just occurred to me, DutyRon, you can answer this probably. Do you remember Casey Anthony? When they had her body in the trunk, Kaylee's, and Dr. G went up on the stand, Dr. Garavaglia, and they were harnessing the wind to see if like the air in the trunk had vapors from a body. Like that was considered a crime scene. I remember that very vividly and in Florida. That's a big deal because can't he get this? Is my question to you. I don't know why. Maybe I missed that part. I didn't know about the bamboo thing or him covering the body. Can that be tampering? Can they tack on a charge later? How long do they have to wait?
You know, I believe that, you know, the murder and his now concealing the body and then I don't think that there's going to be an extra charge because it's all lumped into the one charge.
Okay.
What he did there. So I don't think so. But in Florida, you never know. I mean, if
they have transporting there as a crime.
If they legally can, they will. But look, he left her there and he concealed her there. He put her in, you know, in the bush, and she also covered her with stuff. Let me get to the super chat. YouTube bad actors. Thank you for the $5. Love the clown photo. Thank you for all you both do. Please stop by my channel when you have a chance, just for a break from the heavy subjects you work on.
Someone sent me their channel the other day, and I actually have been to your channel, and I like your channel, and I may have already clicked to join or subscribe because you were making me laugh my ass off. So thank you.
I'll have to go and check it out because I always use the break from the heavy cases. So thank you, YouTube bad actors, for the super chat. I love it.
They give a hard time to the dirt bags. I like it.
Good. Screw them. They need to be called out. So good for him or her, whoever's behind that channel. Guilty of a Crime is here. Hey, how are you, Jay? Big question, DutyRon. Do you think Jen Soto is in the clear? No, I don't. And I said this, you know, maybe you just are getting here, or I don't know when you came in, but thank you for being here. Jen Soto is not in the clear. And if it takes 3 months, 6 months, a year, I don't give a shit how long it takes. As long as they go through everything and make sure that she had no hands in this thing or no criminal responsibility. I don't care how long it takes, but I would tell you this.
Statute?
There is no statute.
There's no statute for Jen if she was negligent or anything?
No. And in this case, they'll take as long as need be, and they will do whatever they have to do.
That's good.
All right, let's go to the chat again because I promised the chat. Joey Brooklyn, who's a great friend of mine, he is the He's the chief of security here. He is like the police chief.
He went through the reeds with you.
Joey I've had him here at my house. We broke bread together. My wife, his wife, we got together. We went to see a comedy show. We hang out. He's my brother. So Joey Brooklyn's got his YouTube channel. He goes around and you could see him crabbing out on Long Island. You could see his
badass sunglasses.
Yeah, he's a badass. Joey Brooklyn is my brother. So everyone go and subscribe to him as well. Belle is in the chat, and Heather whatever. I just want to highlight a couple of these, and then we'll get to some questions. But let's put back on the LinkedIn from the dad, right? Is that
the LinkedIn? Let's put that back up. It's LinkedIn, but we call it LinkedIn because of a stand-up comic. I really like who says it like that.
A lot of your children are here.
All my children, my sweet little babies.
Look, Auntie Ree. Oh, hey, Dad.
Yeah. Hi, kids. I'm their dad. I'm not a parent, but I want to be. So I'm their dad.
Am I like a great uncle? I don't know.
You're well, you could be Uncle Ron, you could be Stepdad Ron. You can really assign yourself anything in the family. We have Auntie Deb from the Karen Reed case. So if you want to be Aunt Ron, but I don't think you want to. I think you're an Uncle Ron.
All right, fair enough.
Or Papa Ron. That's what I've been calling you. I call you Papa Popo when you're not around. It's my fave.
Okay.
Papa Popo.
I like it. Okay. Papa Ron.
And Joey Brooklyn is stepbrother Joey.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Auntie Ree saying hi. Everyone's getting friendly here. All right. Let's get back on track. So we're in the dad's LinkedIn. He said he's worth what? 200 million in real estate.
He says he's worth 200 million plus in residential real estate sales. He says that he's got 30 million.
Oh, hell no.
Oh, hell no. I got to show you Rhoda later, by the way, Ron.
Okay.
If you want some new sound drops, I got them for you.
Okay, good.
Courtesy of Hudson, who watches your channel now.
All right. I love it.
Okay, so right here, look at this. So he was previously licensed in California from 02 to 04 with 15 million sales. That's interesting to me how in 2 years in California, it's 15 million. And then 20 years in Florida.
You could have sold one property for 15 million
Yeah,
in California,
that's
right?
crazy. Yeah, that's just like one. That's nuts. He also did a digital Florida luxury home guide, magazine and marketing. And also, I noticed the brother will misspell his last name on purpose now with an A, which is interesting. And he works in computers, namely making websites. So if we scroll down, this Christopher, who's the dad, see how it says Bright Homes?
Yes.
This was one of the homes that, or one of the companies that Stephan had listed on something a while back. And then he changed it to a Smart Build home realtor, which his dad also brags about having a hand in. But you can see
Do you know
he's
what part of
worked.
California the father was doing real estate in? Jennifer is saying she wants to know because she's from Cali. So
Yeah,
she
it
wants
was
to know.
somewhere weird. It was like it's not like Cambria mountainous area. Like it's not like in the mountains, but I believe it was between San Francisco and LA, but not above Malibu, but not
We'll look
Cambria.
into it. We'll look into
Yeah,
it, Jen, and we'll let you know if it's close to Bakersfield. Hopefully not.
Oh no, it's not close to Bakersfield. I think you're pretty safe.
Okay.
I don't think you ever bought a home from him, is what I'm saying. Because I think he only sold one, maybe two. That's really like seriously in Cali. That's
What did you dig up on mom? Anything?
oh god, Deb.
All right, because
Fucking
the
Deborah.
dad seems like father, like son. That Stephan, to make his money, perhaps was into that rental game, and hence Jennifer subletting all of her. This is, I guess, a way for them to make money out of maximizing the space that they have. And we have this all the time where people sublet illegally apartments here in New York. Like I would, when I was in the warrant squad, I want to put us back on. I know you're drinking a beverage there. It's okay. You can drink, you can smoke, you can do whatever you want to do. I don't give a shit. But here, the bottom line is when I was on the job in the Fugitive Enforcement Division, and we would go into some, places in Queens and like outside of Astoria and some of those locations in Queens, I would go in to look for a subject in an apartment, and we would go in there, and all of a sudden we'd walk down the hall, and it'd be like room, and they would put walls up, some of them temporary, some of them permanent, and they would subdivide like a 3-bedroom and make it into like a
Wasn't that tenement housing, or is that different?
No, it was just illegal subletting that they did.
So
and
crazy.
so they would lease the location for X amount of dollars, and then they would break it up and have 8 families living in there with kids in one room, and they'd share a bathroom, amongst people. And that's what they did at Jennifer's house. I read from the paperwork that Madeline had a room off of the kitchen that was divided by, like, when she wanted her private space, it was divided by temporary dividers off the kitchen. Like when I heard and read that, I was like, this poor kid. She didn't even have her own private bedroom. The only privacy that she got is when the mom would tell Stephan to take her to another room and sleep somewhere.
And there was 4, right? Wasn't there? There were 4 upstairs, and then there was the one that they say downstairs. But I don't acknowledge it either, because what I heard was that. Well, I'm not even going to say what I heard. What multiple sources have told me, and by sources, I'm talking about my friends who do YouTube creation and people who do the nosy stuff I do. My hacker buddy who was drunk on my channel, and I'm sorry, everyone, but they've all found the same stuff. And you can look back at old public posts and you can hear the interviews. She did not have privacy, and to have that many rooms in a condo that you're not even paying on, that your dad bought you, to not give your daughter, who's a new teen, space to do what she needs to do as a teen, just privacy in general. It feels very odd how much they kind of all 3 of them hang out together. And you hear a lot about, the first roommate said, she was a good mom. She really did love her daughter. But at the same time, when Stephan was there, it was a totally different vibe. It seems like he ruined the vibe. He literally was such a bummer. He brought people down, and he inserted himself a lot. And I don't know if, a lot of people have their theories about Jen was jealous. I don't know about that. I think that she was just very, very negligent. And she also did not consider Maddie's needs as she got older.
she didn't appear to love her daughter, that's for sure, because
Not in the
just,
end.
just that statement of when she turns 18, I want to throw her out of the house. And like, look, who makes those kind of statements? You get into arguments with your kids and you have your ups and downs, but like just everything about her on paper that we know, and now through people who know the situation there and the way that the living space was set up, it's not a good look for her. And for her to sanction and say, hey, and she told the authorities this, if I had anxiety, I would tell her tell Stephan it was okay to sleep.
That was where I was like, I'm out, dog. That was the second I was Randy. I was like, I'm out. I no longer am giving her any benefit of the doubt. I cannot think, I've told you this before, Ron, I cannot think of a single instance in life when it would be okay to send your teenage daughter off
Sickening.
to another room with an adult man that you are dating with a stepdad. I don't give a fuck. Like, you don't send your teen daughter off with someone who is not her biological father, in my opinion. And even then, as a teen, it can be a little weird depending on their relationship. It's just super strange to me to do that in general with someone who was a loving stepfather. This is a dude who was in and out of her life, just a boyfriend who wasn't a very good one, who mooched, who laid around all day and played with his little toys. Like,
she described the relationship as a 7-year on again, off again relationship. I have doubts that they were even sexually active together, her and Stephan. I think she just kept him around to say, look, I've got a man here, and just to have him there. And you know what? What did he provide? He didn't provide any funding. He didn't provide any. This guy was a fucking loser.
And that's another thing, that's a good point, because I mean, I always call him a mooch and talk about how he mooched off her and the parents paid for everything. But even in the emails, because I jumped in and heard you talking about that earlier, when he's demanding the origami and he's like, you don't even have to give me the paper. I just need the origami because you can't set the book had paper in it. It clicked earlier. Like, he spent 7 years, God knows how much longer. We know he played with, it's OSINT. You can find it on his page. He played with the toys. He traded the toys, the figures, whatever you want to call them, the Warhammer shit. He was into that for a long time, but that was all shit that he either had to purchase without money or he would make, but he would add on to shit that you still had to buy. So someone's buying him this stuff. It's likely going to be Jen or his parents. It's so interesting and ironic to me how full circle that comes around, because now he's in jail begging so that he can make origami, which I'm guessing he's going to make into these little figures. And the one thing that sticks with me from behavioral analysis classes is this is a guy who likes to be in control. He created his own little world with all his dolls. No, I don't think they're symbolic of his victims. I think that's a bit much, but I do think he has a craving to control something a little more. He has these little players. He's using them, I think, to gain favor with Maddie, because her favorite character was the Figgy character. That was the section in Disney World he worked on. He ran that Figment ride. That was the main profile picture he chose. It was in all of his Reddit posts and in the Instagram account that you'll notice has his email under it, not hers. Figgy is the main picture, and she loved it, according to them. Yeah. When he's asking for origami, I'm like, please don't give it to him. Even if it's just paper, he shouldn't be in control of shit. And it makes me so angry to think that this guy is using these women, his parents, everybody to buy him these things. And then he goes to jail. And what's one thing a predator should never have access to? The internet. And they give him a fucking tablet. Yeah. And now he's going to get origami. Now he has his toys again. That's what infuriates me.
This is crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. Too many liberties are given to, of course, we have to put that disclaimer out there, innocent until proven guilty, right? But the overwhelming amount of evidence that we have here in the crime, the nature of this crime, he's facing the death penalty. They're going after him for the death penalty.
Hey, tell Deb to sue me for discovery. I'd love to see what she's got.
Yeah. Berlinda, thank you for being a member for 2 months, and thank you for all the questions. Maggie put in a question. I think we answered it. I don't think he was using the toys to groom some of his young victims, but I certainly think he was giving parental advice online to try to like groom some of his potential victims, because he was in these crazy, you had brought this up on one of our live streams, is that he was in these parental groups or parenting
substitute teaching groups, which worries me because I think he was applying to be a substitute teacher. He had made a statement on one of the forums about it.
Hold on.
And what school's going to admit to that? What school's going to be like, yeah,
no.
That's a
hell no.
it's a double, triple hell no.
Could you imagine him subbing for your kid's class? And what school's going to come out and go, yeah, he applied here? Hell no. The same way Disney wouldn't even admit it when he did work there.
Yeah, that's
crazy to me.
Yeah. So he complained about his bloody fingerprints on his jail cell. The walls are dirty and it's not the Ritz. He talks about his appearances and like how he appears now, like, oh, I'm starting to get dark circles under my eyes. Worried about his commissary. Just a lot of crazy stuff. And talks about don't send the gift set, otherwise they'll take that and I won't be able to get it. And we have the list of all the things that he has been sent by his parents. It's like, are you kidding me?
I can't get coffee on the road doing comedy. Like being paid to come make people to spread joy. They won't give me fucking coffee. And this guy's getting coffee in jail? I'm furious.
Crazy, crazy, crazy.
I can't believe this shit.
Karen Solak says the nerve. All right. I want you to present because I got to get to bed. Believe it or not, I got to get.
Yeah. Let me show you. Let's look at Debbie. Let's take a look at Debbie. Here, I'm going to pull up.
What happened? It went away.
No, I got to reshare my screen because for some reason.
I wanted to play Joseph Scott Morgan for a second because I want to.
Yeah, play him.
Yeah, let's play him while you try to grab that. I got it in the hopper. So Court TV, they have great guests. They have some good folks, but I really love Joseph Scott Morgan because he's like our Barbara Butcher equivalent, and he talks a little bit about the crime perpetrated.
Body daddy.
Yeah, he's the body daddy, big time. I'm going to get him on the show. I know Melanie had him on. I'm going to try to lasso him in, but. Again, I always like to yield to Barbara Butcher because she's our guru. I don't want to get her mad, but
I like her last name too. That's a crazy name for
Barbara Butcher. She's a badass.
Rules.
Her and Joe, same thing. Legal medical death investigators.
I immediately wondered if her death occurred during the course of some type of sexual assault.
Yeah, and that's certainly a possibility. And in any case like this, I can tell you that that the ME's office will have done a rape kit on her, and not just that, Julie. We have to look back over time. Remember, this familial, if you want to call it that, relationship that was going on inside this domicile has been going on for a long, long time, and so I don't know that you could really have a lot of indications that there was ongoing physical abuse, like where we see things like broken bones many times with children, bruises, this sort of thing. It's hard to really know at this point. The histrionics in this case are going to be so muddled because the situation has gone on for so long. Did he fly into a rage at that moment in time and take her life? And I think that when all is said and done and it is revealed specifically what was done to this child, many things will come to light and we'll see how horrific this is.
And he brought up an excellent point. We do not have access to that autopsy report. We'll never get that access.
Yeah, we won't.
But during the trial, it won't be shown on if it's televised, but it will be presented by the district attorney. It's part of the case. They will present her autopsy and all of her injuries or none of her injuries or whatever she had on her body when the medical examiner and the legal medical death investigator came onto the scene will be revealed at the trial. And we'll know, A, looming question of people asking, was she pregnant? Was she sexually assaulted prior? And I would guess that I would bet my bottom dollar that she definitely was one last time by this freak.
Assaulted. I wouldn't bet that she's pregnant though, because
No.
I think he would have got another charge for that by now, in my opinion.
Not necessarily. Well, again, they wouldn't make that public at this time.
Oh, that's a good point.
So again, we got to wait. We have to wait. And there's going to be, like, when trials start and there's lots of oohs and ah moments, right? The district attorney looks at this, it's a death penalty case, and they're going to go at him and they're going to throw everything they can at him legally that's possible. But yeah, so again, a lot of people have these looming questions. Are you ready with your I can't wait to hear about this mom, because
yeah, and I have
the apple
three
doesn't fall far from the tree as it pertains to father and son. And Stephan Sterns followed some of the father's business, something to try. Like, look, he wanted to try to be in real estate to make money because he saw his dad was successful. You getting a good crack out of that?
Yeah, it just made a loud noise, and I was like, oh, I thought I Lex Lugered for a second. I don't know if you know about that, but he had a neck ache and he did this on a plane, and then his whole spine went numb, and he was paralyzed, and I'm terrified when I hear my neck pop. I'm like, oh Jesus!
I get cringed when I go to the chiropractor, which I don't do often, but they start cracking you up.
I would never.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you. She says, Papa Ron has patience. We must have too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jay's your biggest advocate for she's so excited that there's someone out there that is so pissed about Jen like she is, and constantly says, do something. And I agree. You guys are one and the same. Every time I look y'all up, y'all are like, why isn't Jen in jail?
I said on my members only live today, for those of members who are here in the chat, I said on the members only, Jen Soto needs to be hogtied and dragged in. People
that happened in Texas.
Did he say that? She needs to be hogtied and dragged in. It happened?
Legit, in Texas, there was actually, this is really crazy. I'll make it quick. But when I worked at a certain restaurant, our busboy had been out of nowhere. He was on the news because he had been a well-known rapist in the area who had gotten like 9 women, and then he was in the middle of an attack, and this hillbilly redneck couple, who I absolutely love more than anything, pulled over in their truck, said, hey, quit doing that, ran up on him. The female got him in a chokehold. The male hogtied him straight up, had a rope,
wow,
like the rodeo, dragged his ass, threw him in the truck, took him to the police station. And then they had called the police and said, there's a woman in the road. You need to come get her. We're on the way to the police station.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And I was like, isn't that Ricardo? And it was totally like our busboy under a fake name. And it was crazy. And that was many years ago, but I'll never forget seeing that couple on the news. Oh my God. They hogtied the guy. Like,
thank you for sharing that. I never even heard of it. I'll have to look up that case.
It's possible.
Miss Young says, at DutyRon, it takes time to investigate. That's what's taken them so long to arrest Jen. Right. Yes. They're building a case, if in fact there is a case on her. And I would have to say that there is definitely a case on her, because what she did here and what we know publicly, and they, again, remember, they know a lot more than we know. They're building a case, and they don't want to just charge her with some low misdemeanor or even a high misdemeanor. They want to have her in, and they want to slam dunk. They want both of these guys, Jen and Stephan, to pay the price for what they did to Madeline. So thank you for that. Hey, I want to give out some free memberships. I got 10 of them coming. Put a 1 in the chat if you want a free membership. Make sure you're subscribed. You have to hit the thumbs up and go over onto my social and follow me on all things social media. One word, DutyRon. Me and Ed are on TikTok. Believe it or not, we share our cases, little clips. We're not swinging from a pole there, but we're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. and Facebook. So we're on Facebook as well. I have a police and crime chat group. I'd love to get you in there if you're on it. I don't even know if you're on Facebook.
I love Facebook. You guys call it Facebook.
What the
It
hell
hurts
aren't
my
you in
heart.
the
It's so
DutyRon
good.
police and crime chat group, for crying out loud?
I'm gonna have to join in there. I actually,
Yeah,
as much as I love it, I haven't been using it as much recently since I got on YouTube because I'm still trying to figure out the complexities of this system and this algorithm. Oh my god! Like, why do they do the things they do on here?
We'll get it going. Listen, for about a whole year, I used to go live and have 13, 12 people, 2 people watching the chat. So I went through the same thing in the beginning. And then once you get it, you get it. So look at all the ones in the chat. Thank you, everybody. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe. It's free. And I hope you have the membership gifting enabled on your YouTube, because if you don't, then you might not get it. So thank you for being here. Again, hashtag DutyRon, hashtag, what do you want them to put in for you? Dad?
Just put Dad or Oblivious Benson. And I know that there's some of you who are like, say your real name, talk about your comedy. You guys, I have 2 stalkers. There's a reason I don't do that. So be cool. Like,
right.
I have real stalkers, like, will come to my house. So
Don't
let's
say
just
your real name then. Don't say your real name. I don't want to
do it on a big ass channel. Come on, kids.
I don't want to fuel the fire. Kirsten Miller says, me. 1, please. I have no control over who gets it, but let's do it. Hashtag Dad is in the chat. I see it. Thank you.
My children.
Right, here we go. 10 members. Do you think my credit card's going to go through?
Let's see if it works.
Here's the test of time. Boom. I think it went through. Let's see what the chat.
And yes, little Miss Madhead, I'm going to show DutyRon Rhoda later. I think he would love Rhoda so much.
All right, 10 memberships. I want to see and hear about Roto, but we may have to do a second one.
Oh, that's later. Yeah, that's not for this live. That's for another.
Michelle Redfelt was gifted a membership. Jen Peach got a membership. Jenny, welcome back. Karen Solak, welcome back again. Like some of my friends here, Karen has got probably 2 or 3 gifted memberships. I'm happy.
That's so awesome. I love how
Kitty KU again, one of maybe 5 gifted memberships. I keep it goes random.
Everyone's so awesome in your chat. They're so like
Bojangles. Yeah, we have badass folks in our chat because they're respectful, but they want to get to the bottom of the crimes. And between myself and Ed Wallace and some of the great guests that we have on, like you and others, it makes it a badass experience because you're not getting a bunch of hogwash thrown at you. You know, it's not a bowl of feces being thrown at you.
Just poop, just shit at the wall. And also, Duty Ed's drapes. I mean, we're about to start a whole new Discord link in my Discord just for Duty Ed's drapes. We're obsessed.
Perfect. A lot of obsessions, a lot of good people, and I'm honored that everyone's here. All right,
Ed's in traffic, you guys. People are asking about Ed. He's in traffic.
Yeah, Ed's still in traffic. Melly sends in a super chat. Thank you for the super sticker.
Melly, my child.
Melly is the best.
She's top daughter.
H Sin, thank you for the super sticker. Appreciate it. Thank you. Deborah Guzman, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. And Deborah Bergen, thank you for becoming a member. Appreciate it. All right, let's go to Deborah Sterns. Stephan Stern's mom. What kind of dirt do we have on this woman? Why no picture? I guess she shamed herself and took it down.
Because it would make my face explode. I honestly don't know. But probably a face for radio. Let's just say that she owns a company called Callus Stern Standard Poodles, which, if you remember in the emails, makes sense because they're breeders. And I'm not talking about they're having a bunch of babies that are doing wicked things in the world. I'm talking about they breed animals. I understand if you're a farmer, if you're someone who's an ethical breeder, that's chill. But typically I'm under just my personal opinion, don't breed dogs if you're going to chop their tails off and rip their dew claws out, which we saw in that email. Yes. That is especially cruel. And I don't like that they do this. And when you find out what kind of poodles, let me pull this up because it makes me stop sharing the screen. And now I'm going to present the new one. So this is where it gets interesting. So she has It's Calla Stern's Poodles. Is it showing? Yeah, there it is. I think you have to put it up for me, though.
Hold on a second. I'll put it. There you go.
And let me scroll up so we're not looking at phone numbers. But this is it. Poodlebreeders.com. Can't be more specific than that. They've got miniature and toy poodles, as you can see. This is the dogs that they're talking about, or these are the dogs they are talking about in the emails. The Calla Stern's dazzling Vegas showgirl is this one. I feel terrible for this dog that she is choking with a leash. That is terrible. They are using a slip. No, I don't like any of this. I'm sorry. I used to work with dogs, and this is all just so fucking unethical. And it doesn't surprise me that they had a kid like Sterns. So if we go down, let's just, I gotta ask you first, Ron. The phone number is in here. Should I scroll down or no? Let's wait.
Is it publicly available?
It is.
Yeah, then go ahead.
I mean, she might get some business from it. I don't know.
Yeah, just don't call the number and harass.
Yeah, just don't call the number. But basically,
available. This is on the LinkedIn, right?
Yes, and you can see, or this is her website that is public on the LinkedIn. She goes on to explain all of the different dogs in the background and how they test the dogs, how they declaw them by their dew claw, they dock their tails. Ugh. This is just kind of like, oh my God, I can't believe they still do this. They do keep up with the website. They are active breeding. The dad, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pull up all their personal stuff, but I'll tell you this much. The dad, according to the roommates, which lines up with what we can see publicly online, tends to not be home a lot. He travels throughout Florida and the US for real estate ventures. He's not home a lot. Deb's home a lot. Deb has a history of anytime Stephan gets into trouble, allegedly showing up with a folder like she's fucking Vince McMahon, giving someone money, and then the problem goes away. Fair enough. How dare you, Deb? But if you're interested, we have a podcast with Deb on it.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I've never heard her talk or anything.
You shared it with me in the private chat. Let's save that for another live stream. Maybe we'll just do a dedicated live stream. Hey, I also wanted to make mention that, you know, Stephan Sterns in the beginning of this, when he was talking to investigators, he talked about how annoying those dogs were and how they were enough to, I think he said, it's enough to drive anybody crazy, the barking, and my parents are really annoying. And now we see in his Jailhouse, and all the channels have have showed this and played the the email. So I'm not gonna spare you guys all of that because we all know about it. But now he's sucking up to them and talking about how he misses the dogs. Did anybody catch on to that?
Gaining interest,
right?
And it's very interesting that, I mean, I'm sure you've hit on this immediately. Chris is like, by the way, this is public, right? And then right after that, it's like, hey, by the way, this is all Jen's fault. Let's blame her from the mom. Like, you know what pisses me off too? The fact that they can do one email from Chris's account and then he can say, here's your mom to come in and speak. Tell me how that is legal in a jail, because I feel like it should be wrong. Imagine that. Let's say you assaulted your wife and you're in jail or prison because, God forbid, you committed attempted murder on her and she survived. And let's say your wife is stuck at home and your mom lives with you and you're in jail. So it's your mom and the wife that you assaulted. What's to stop at any moment any of these victims who want to go back or change the story or even don't want to talk about it and are being forced to join in on emails? Why is there no check and balance? Why are they not stopping and going, no, you each have to make your own email? Because it makes me nervous for witness intimidation reasons, or for people who are in gangs who can send messages.
Yeah.
What's to stop Deb from hopping in and sending him a message that maybe dad wouldn't have done? It stresses me out that they're letting multiple people email from the same account. I don't like that.
So it's twofold of why they let this go, is because they want to obviously see maybe a slip up or maybe something that they could use against them.
That's a good
because
point.
Again, it's they know when they sign on to send the email, there's a disclaimer on there. There's a legal disclaimer that comes up, and that's why when she said, oh, this is public, people can read it. Maybe she didn't see it. Maybe when the dad signed in, she didn't see it. So I'm trying to like justify it.
Oh, that's a good point.
But these people, potentially, a little bit older. I know that I was just at my stepmom's today. She's 80 years old. She has a smartphone, and I have to always, every time that I see her, I always have to like fix it up and delete things. And she's got double screenshots, and she's like, how do I take a picture again? And I want to send a selfie to my daughter, and how do I so technology is probably not their best friend, but they're not stupid, so they know that anything that they send is going to be looked at. But the investigators want that. I mean, I know they're not allowing him to just communicate with anybody.
Yeah.
These are all approved people that he could communicate with. Look, Rex Heuermann, people want to interview him. Brian Kohlberger, look, you got Ashley Banfield saying, oh, I stalk him. I'm trying to call him and send him emails. And like news people and reporters, they'll do that continuously. But
they use JPay so that they can contact. I mean, even Keegan Klein in the Delphi case was texting with murder sheet. Like, it's crazy that that's allowed, in my opinion. But I do think it's very, very odd, though, in Florida. The second they get out on bail, if you're still on the sex offender registry, the checks and balances from a perspective of law enforcement of keeping them from actually being in contact with kids is honestly shit. Like, sure, they did a great job rounding them all up. But if you look up a guy named Chazen Rance right now, he is on the sex offender list training children every day at his wrestling academy. And there are a ton of others that are teachers in Florida. And you're like, how did this happen? I think that there needs to be way more regulation among them using their laptops, their iPads. I don't care if it's jail. Don't let them on the internet, and don't let them around kids. It really stresses me out.
And I'm not really certain how much ability he has to do just random searches on the internet. It's all of it is regulated, and it's all looked at.
True.
He can't just take that iPad and start going and searching whatever the hell he wants. It's not going to.
Is that true though? Because there have been situations that I've been reading about lately, as far as in our hacking circles, about how these prisoners are figuring it out, and it's stressing me out.
I'm going to have Anthony from Tier Talk come on. Anthony Ganget, he's a prison executive. He still is an active executive. So he's like an upper boss in the.
Ooh, I love that.
So I'm going to have Anthony Ganget. He's got 20 some odd years in the prison business. We'll ask him the questions. I don't like to answer questions that I don't exactly 100% know, because I'm not a corrections professional.
Oh, and you could have those guys back on that you had, the one from Texas and the one from New York. I loved them.
Yes, Keith.
They were awesome on your show.
Those are badasses. And the other guy from California too, Russ Hamilton.
Yes.
And he worked in female prisons just with females in it. And also he worked with juveniles too.
Was he the guy who said that it ain't like the orange is the new black anymore? I remember you had someone on here who said that, and I spit coffee.
Yep. So Anthony and Russ and also Keith Helwick, unbelievable resources as it pertains to corrections, and we'll do that, because I don't like to just randomly talk about things that I don't really 100% know.
Yeah, I have so many questions about that.
All right, an hour and 38 minutes. I'm going to wrap it up. I know that you could go on for 4 or 5 hours, 3 or 4 hours.
I'm not going to do that to you today, Ron.
Long clock. I've had a long day, and I got to get up at like 5:50 in the morning. So we're going to continue to monitor Stephan Sterns' family's activities. We only touched the tip of the iceberg here. So maybe we'll come back and we'll do a part 2 to the show, if you don't mind.
It would technically be our part 3, and I don't mind. I would love to do that, because when I come back, we can listen to Poodle People with Debbie.
Oof. Yeah.
Get ready for that one.
You shared in the private chat
I sent you a link.
Yeah, I almost want to click on it, but I'm in fear that I'll be on.
I've never heard her.
I'm in fear that we'll be on in another hour or two. So maybe let's do this on a short thing.
Because what if Poodle People is amazing and we get addicted to a poodle podcast? I would hate that for myself. Yeah.
Hold on. Let me get that. It's
no bird chat, but
So tomorrow is Karen Reed. There's like that big hearing that's going to be the whole hoopla. Melanie's going to be covering it. I'm going to try to follow that closely. A couple of super chats I didn't get to. Nicolette sends in 5 in honor of Daddy OB's fam clan.
My sweet child.
Thank you, Nicolette. It
would be really easy to leverage Spook JS into confessing. Wouldn't a misdemeanor felony charge put her disability in jeopardy? I think so.
So they're saying, to bring her in and lock her up on a, like a lower level misdemeanor or / felony to put her disability in jeopardy to get her to talk. That's reasonable, but I don't think that they're looking at it from that lens. Like I keep alluding to, they want to have her and they want to sink her. They don't want to just give just a little bit, because they know from dealing with these two that they're not getting shit. He lawyered up. She potentially probably is lawyered up. We don't know where she is. Nobody knows. I'm sure that if she was available or she was going back to the Venetian Bay, that people would be there with cameras. News crews would be there. We would see her. So I haven't seen her. You let me know.
She went to the nut house for a few days and then got out, which fair enough.
HSN, thank you for the super sticker and thank you for gifting 5 memberships. So Rowan, Miss Rains sends in a super sticker and says, "Baby boy needs Minnie on his books from Mama." From Mama.
I love that, Rowena.
Buddy, thank you for the super chat. Hi, folks. Jail internet access is networking, not private. It's monitored. I'm aware of that, but again, how much is it monitored and how closely is it monitored? Just like some of the illegals come in from the southern border and they put them on that ankle monitoring system. It didn't work out well.
The people who stabbed and beat me to near death had ankle monitors on. Where did that get them? Not jail.
It didn't help Rachel Morin because she was raped and murdered on her hiking trail with a person who had monitoring device. Sassy Frass. Oh, I love that. Sassy Frass.
Good name.
What charges do you think Jennifer Soto should face? Where do we start?
Negligence, tampering.
The list goes on and on. What did Jen, thank you for the $5 super chat, Dion Peel. What did Jen see in Stearns enough to trust that the devil with her daughter? Did Jen grow up being abused? Maybe. That's a good question. But what did she see, and how would any woman look? I could ask you this. I know you're not a mom, but if you had a stepdaughter or if you had a kid, would you say to your current boyfriend, "Hey, I am stressed out. Can you take my daughter, my 13-year-old daughter, and bring her to the next room and go and sleep with her, and so I can get a good night's rest"? Would you do that?
No. First of all, I chose a boyfriend who doesn't take naps. Once he's up, he's up. And also, I just wouldn't do. There are times when he's with the dog and I'm like, is the dog alive? Is he okay? Is he breathing? Has he gone walkied? Have you walkied him? Why haven't you walkied him? Like, I would be annoying as a mom.
Right.
I would never let my eyes off that kid.
Gotcha.
Like, ever.
So the answer to the question is unequivocally no. And anybody here in the chat would say the same thing. Who wouldn't in the right mind would say, you know what, I'm going to have my unstable on again, off again relationship for 7 years. He's been missing. He went back home to his parents in December, and now he shows up on the night of my daughter's birthday celebration, not her birthday. It was days before. He shows up that night after being MIA for months. He just comes back, and I just say, you know what? It's a good idea for me to get a good night's sleep because I'm kind of stressed out. I didn't go to my daughter's birthday party. I really don't care much about her, and you could just take her to another room and sleep with her. And
I'm also very lucky, though. I was raised in a family where I was taught, it was instilled in me at a young age. Nothing's given to you. You work hard for what you have, and what you have, you need to treat precious. You need to craft your entire life around the people and the things that mean the most to you that you plan on sticking with. And if I have a child, that child comes first. So I wouldn't even let anyone in my house. Like, first of all, Stephan came second in her life, like as far as chronologically speaking.
Right.
If I had a daughter as young as Maddie, I wouldn't date someone who I couldn't craft around me and my daughter's time, and who I wasn't 100% sure is going to be a positive resource for her. Now, if she didn't see that, if she was abused, if he totally conned her the whole time, that will come out. We'll find out.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it, considering the amount of info we now have. It looks like she's in a bit of a denial, or she's willfully ignorant and negligent, in my opinion. So I wouldn't let it get to that point. I think that that's something that some people lack. And sure, we can say it's because of their childhood. We can blame abuse. And maybe it is true. Maybe she was abused or something happened that made her that way. I just know that we don't know. Yeah, we don't know yet, but we will. And when we do, the thing that we can learn from this, I think, is screen your boyfriends, pay attention to red flags. Don't even go on the date if you aren't 100% sure that this person is someone you should even be around.
Yeah, and don't give direct access and complete access to your child to anybody.
Not alone.
Anybody alone. Yeah, 100%.
Ever.
Heather, thank you for buying a cup of coffee on the Buy Me a Cup of Coffee app. Heather sends a coffee, and this is a message. You're great. I don't know. I think you're great. I don't think I'm great, but I appreciate the kindness. I just do my thing. This is what we do. Deborah Bergen says, you haven't said much about the victim's mother.
Jen, we've just been talking about her the whole time.
Yeah, maybe she's tuning in late. Nicolette says, as a girl mom of two, never. Yeah. Aurora Martini says, how could you send your child to any man's bed? Disgusting. Period.
Like, if it's your biological dad and you're a daddy's girl and you're sick and you're like 11 or 12 and you just want to go snuggle with your dad, that's one thing. That's fine. But if it's your stepdad, if it's somebody that didn't raise you from a baby or at least a very young age, even then it's kind of like, be in the room.
Exactly. All right, 11:18 p.m. on the East Coast. I got to get out of here. OB, Dad, as we like to call you, to tell everybody about your channel and where they can go to become a part of your cult.
If you would like to join or Coven, for those of you goths out there, or we can also be a Moose Lodge if you're a little older, or we don't have to be. We can just be a YouTube channel. You can go to Oblivious Benson on YouTube, at Oblivious Benson, and you can go there and you can join, and anybody can be in. And the only way you're allowed out is by telling my dog that he's cute. We talk about true crime, we talk about OSINT, and we also have some giggles once in a while. Lately, we've been talking about public webcams and watching from a bar in Florida at 10 a.m. to watch people drink and make sure no one gets roofied. And we've just been creeping, and that's what we've been doing. If anything, I would call it ethical voyeurism.
It's a lot of good content if you have time and you have time on your hands, but you can also watch it in doses. I like to say you can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just like Cheers. Everybody's welcome. It is a sitcom. I don't know what's going to happen with Ted, but it's happening.
Rock Chalk is in the house. Fuck yeah.
Rock Chalk rules. I hope your tire is better. I saw a picture of a flat tire and I was going to text her and be like, the hell?
Yeah.
But I think I've been texting someone who's not Rock Chalk. We'll get to that later.
Hi, Rock Chalk. Hey, Oblivious Benson's YouTube channel is linked in the description of this video. If you want to go and have an easy way to get to it, go into my description and there's a clickable link that'll take you right to her channel. Go and subscribe. Tell her that you found her through DutyRon, so this way she knows. Candy Temple is saying thank you, Uncle Dad's mods and chat.
Uncle Dad.
Uncle Dad. Carol,
I like that. Uncle Dad.
Hotel California reference that I made. I love the Eagles and Hotel California. I grew up on that shit. Love that music. So thank you all for being here. Love and respect from Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace, and also our great friend Oblivious Benson, better known as Cat. I love Cat.
Call me Cat. We love you, DutyRon. We love Duty Ed. We love Joey Brooklyn. We love Rock Chalk.
Everybody. Karen Cole from the UK.
Everybody.
She's
Jay,
our UK
Melanie.
lawyer. Jay.
It's a family.
The list
It's
goes
a whole
on.
family.
Oy vey. All right, guys.
Oy.
Good night. Stand by for a message from the cop team. And do you want to talk just for a minute after this, or do you got to go?
Oh, yeah, I could talk to you. Yeah.
Just a minute, because I want to tell you something. All right. Here's the message from the cop team. Good night from both of us. Peace. We love you. Peace. Bye. And guess what? Look for her probably somewhere around 1 or 2 a.m. tonight.
Yeah, probably.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for joining.
Good night.